Hi there, welcome back to the program. Time for Mediaweek. James Manning, editor and publisher of Mediaweek, I'm pleased to say here, joins me in studio. James, good to have you on board.
Hello.
We've got a bit to cover, actually, today. One of the big stories, of course, is Sky News, Australian News Channel, has a new CEO.
Yeah, Paul Whittaker moving down from the Australian, editor-in-chief. Now, we had his editor in here the other week talking about the newspaper, saying how successful it's been. And it's sort of a bit of a, you know, a tick for Paul Whittaker to say, look, we've, you know, I won't call it a big challenge, but it's another big role we'd like you to go and take on. Sky News.
Yeah. Surprised?
Suite of channels. Yeah, perhaps, but I mean, maybe there was nowhere for him to go for another publishing gig, because the Australian is sort of the showpiece of the News Corp group in Australia, and it shares a lot of the same traits with what Sky News does. That commentary has really got Sky News up into the ratings. It's really made a name for itself in this last decade, I guess, you know, and they've got a lot of, you know, that prestige commentary sewn up, if you like. So there's a lot of similarities between the two. And
is the expectation that, you know, that is likely to continue, that strategy around, you know, opinion and analysis?
Yeah, look, you would think so, because it's been successful, but somebody coming in, after a while they'll want to make their own mark. You know, I wouldn't expect him to want to go in and upset the apple cart straight away, but he's going to have ideas, he's going to have things he'd want to try out. So I think we could see some innovation probably sometime during next year. And
look, as mentioned, he was previously, well, currently until he takes full-time the gig, editor-in-chief of the Australian. Big job.
Yep.
As you'd expect, it set off a chain of events in terms of reshuffling.
Sure, and Chris Dorr is replacing Paul at the Australian. Of course, Chris Dorr, editor of the Daily Telegraph at the moment, and he started his career pretty much at the Australian, I think, in the media. Spent a long time there and did a lot of different roles, so he knows the place pretty well. But you know, Paul Whittaker set the newspaper on a path to profitability, something we heard about last week, and he'll want to continue that, but then again, will he take some people with him? You see these media people, when they move jobs, they have some of their trusted lieutenants sometimes go with them, so we could see some change there too a little way down the track.
It's been a lot of movements and some big profile gigs, isn't it? I mean, we're still awaiting a CEO and an MD for SBS and ABC.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of movement.
Two big public broadcasting jobs. That ABC one, you've got to think, gee whiz, people are going to look carefully, because there's a real challenge there for the people who take on those roles.
Is there scrutiny?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
And back to well, getting to Foxtel. Well, sort of Foxtel, because there's a relationship. MCN, new chairman.
Yep. No, well, Patrick Delany's the chairman. They've had a restructure this week, so they've and it's sort of, we'll hear a little bit about Patrick Delany talk about it during our interview with him today. But they've sort of looked at, and they alluded it to him and Mark Frayne, the CEO, were in here a few weeks ago, and they talked about, you know, things they'll be trying, things they'll be doing, and they're sort of hinting about then, are there too many ads on subscription TV? For, you know, people pay for it. Should they get lots of ads? Can we improve the sort of viewing experience? That's one of the things they're doing. They've got some new appointments we might hear about next week. So there's a bit of detail to come on that.
All right. Well, as James mentioned, has been speaking to Patrick Delany. Foxtel has launched its Fox Cricket brand this week after snapping up the broadcast cast rights for the next 6 years, with 7 for just shy of $1.2 billion. The bid was almost double the previous amount paid by Nine and Network 10. James, sitting next to me, spoke with the Foxtel CEO Patrick Delany about how the Fox Cricket brand is performing.
It's interesting doing all these interviews, because we seem to do them every 2 weeks with all the launches, but we're very, very happy with it so far. What you're seeing on air, though, is not a patch on what it will be like in November, when we really crank it up for the one days and the T20s.
You started talking tonight about commercial partnerships.
Yes.
So I guess MCN's been out there in the field with some of your Fox Sports team, taking the story to advertisers. You seem to have a pretty good list of people who are on board already.
You know what, we've been overwhelmed with the success of it, to have the quality rostrum of clients that we've got on board already. Some of them are brand new, and some are real stalwarts of Foxtel and Fox Sports. But it is a bigger launch than any other thing we've ever launched. So there's real faith in what we're going to do.
big names, I think Toyota, Bunnings, Telstra, Harvey Norman, McDonald's. How big is the revenue side of it, of what those ad dollars will bring in?
Look, it's pretty big, but you've got to put it in the context of Foxtel, you know, and how much Foxtel turns over. Advertising dollars are important to us because any way you look at it, one of those pieces of revenue could be your profit. But in this case, we're taking all of the ad money and putting it on air. This is a very big investment. We started with the rights, but we are not leaving anything to chance. This will be cricket like never before.
One of the things you didn't talk about tonight very much is how you're going to market the cricket as part of the sports package. Am I sort of jumping the gun, and there might be another announcement in the future about special deals or to lure people who've resisted the temptation so far?
Well, I don't know about special deals. I think our history is littered with too many offers and special deals. We are seeking to renovate Foxtel and the brand. You'll see us position ourselves as the gold standard in home entertainment. You know, we're the ones that others are judged by, and I think cricket is a central part of the family and the household, and that's what you'll see. Our new TVC comes out on Sunday night. It's very much about that generational change in cricket and generational change in a family.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of talk that maybe Foxtel's priced too highly, but you seem to be trying to get across the message that for what you're paying, it's maybe not bad value.
It's great value. It's not cheap, right? But it is good value. It's an investment for a family, so that the family can share on the big screen, and for things that are deeply personal that maybe only you like, you can watch it. I mean, the depth and breadth of content is extraordinary. And you know, I am going on about this IQ4 because it changes the whole experience, as does the IQ3. As soon as you can light up those deep on-demand libraries, you know, and see things like 4K, which the IQ4 does, it just changes the whole Foxtel experience. You can find the content, and it's very, very deep.
I think it's, what, 97 days of cricket you're getting, and you talked about all...
No, it's bigger than that. What the team said was that if you watched all of our live coverage, you would be sitting on the couch for 97 days. It's an extraordinary load of cricket.
31 commentators.
Yeah. And presenters. Yep, and presenters.
23 of them new to the platform.
Yeah.
That alone must be a fair wad of expenditure.
Yeah, it is, but we don't look at it that way. We see it as an investment, really, in the emotional connection. I mean, sports is all about the emotional connection. How do we connect the sport you love with Foxtel? And that's not about technology. Technology helps you understand it. The people are the things that will make that experience, and the casting of those people. We've got a range of people that can bring different things. If you look at Shane Ward compared to Adam Gilchrist, such contrast, and that makes great commentary. We also want to do those 13 shows. This is going to be a tour de force, this channel. Amazing.
The 13 shows, of course, will connect the dots between probably not many days when there won't be play, but you seem to sort of emphasise the fact that, well, you've got Fox League and Fox Footy for winter. Australia can unite behind this one channel?
Well, I think so, because you know, with Fox Footy, there are 18 different tribes. With Fox League, there's 16. You know, all the tribes of rugby. But in summer, we unite behind one team. We're one tribe. We're Australia. You know, and so that makes this a really big opportunity and a big thing for the country.
We spoke to you earlier in the year, of course, at the 4K launch. Yeah. You've had your first big 4K weekend at Bathurst. How much of the cricket will be in 4K?
All of the one days and the T20s in November, all of the tests in December and January, and then a swathe of the Big Bash League. We can guarantee certain of those games in 4K. The issue is there isn't a huge volume of cameras yet in the country. So if all the cricket's in one place, then we have no problem. As soon as home and away occurs, it's more difficult. But you know, that'll build up over time, as will the channel.
So yeah, the challenges are the gear, I guess, the equipment. Is it expensive too to broadcast in 4K?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
One of the commentary, I think in praising our coverage of Bathurst, pointed out that the cameras in the cars weren't 4K. It's like, no, there are like 7 cameras in those cars. It's very difficult technically to bring it back. So it's expensive to broadcast. It's not about the capital cost. It's very much about the links and everything else. But I've got to say, we have overwhelmingly positive response out of Bathurst. I mean, it was extraordinary to watch, and 7 hours with not one ad. So that, you know, this is unique territory that only we can live in, and we're really, really keen on exploiting it.
you had any information back from the market about the sale of 4K sets in the past couple of weeks?
All I can tell you is that the first thing I did, I went up to our favourite place, Shoal Bay, on the weekend with the family, who are still up there for the weekend. And my son and I went up to Harvey Norman and we splashed down $1,000 for an amazing 55-inch and took it home. And to me, that is such a small investment for the utility you get from one of these fabulous TVs that you can entertain the whole family with.
You mentioned a little bit about the rights at the start of the presentation here tonight, and you said it was a little bit unexpected. We talked to you that day after you did get the rights. Can you sort of fill us in on any of the blanks maybe that you didn't talk about in the excitement of that day?
Well, you know, I'm a dirty, rotten cable guy, right? And we have had to work really hard to get Foxtel and all of our various properties to the place of status they're in. I think we do sports extraordinarily well, but we never take it for granted. We really wanted those cricket rights, and we were honoured that Cricket Australia saw fit to give us as much as they did and entrust us. And I know they were blown away with tonight's presentation. Yeah.
You shared the stage with Tim Warner that day when you were given, when you both sort of won separate packages of rights.
Yes.
You've been sharing a little bit of the commentary so far. What will be the plan across the summer?
Well, you know, Seven's coverage will be great, you know, and we want Seven to grow, you know, the sport generally. We want to grow ourselves as well, so we must differentiate. And so that's why you see different commentaries, you'll see different technology, you'll see all sorts of things different. And as I said, we will be hard at work when the others are in an ad break. You know, having lots of fun, explaining, you know, how the game has shifted, doing a whole lot of stuff. And there'll be lots of announcements about technology. We haven't released all of our technology yet.
Okay, just finally, there's an ad to come this weekend. How much is it about retaining existing Foxtel customers, and how many new ones do you need to help pay for these rights?
Look, in this era of Foxtel, it's very much about loving our customers and keeping them. All of the things that we have done over the last 2 months, everything that we have announced is to add extra value and a premiumness to Foxtel, to make it a better investment for a family in the home, whether it's movies or all of our drama, and certainly in sports. You know, we're known for our sports, but we're far more from that, and you'll see more and more announcements and releases and new products outside of sport. We've got an extraordinary amount of content, and we want to make sure Australian families can get access to it.
There you go, the Foxtel CEO speaking to our very own James Manning, of course, is sat right next to me. Look pretty good. Good night.
Yeah, you probably saw in the background there some of the SCG stands. They actually replicated the ground, so there was maybe 5 screens. Patrick Delany doesn't do anything without the biggest possible screens, and it really it's just fantastic seeing them all. But it was, and then they had fake grass, so they had all the stands, fake grass, a cricket pitch in the middle.
Fantastic.
Then it was sort of weird though, sitting there when just next door was the real SCG. So
he said something which sort of stands out, because obviously there's been this big push on sport, particularly, you know, the 4K coverage of Bathurst and Foxtel, that, you know, whilst being modest, that he doesn't think anyone does sport better than Foxtel. And obviously, you know, there's slight bias here. I'd have to agree. I mean, some of the innovation things they come up with as far as sports coverage goes has been quite extraordinary. 4K seems to be the next one. I wonder how it's going to go, though. Because not everyone has a Foxtel TV, a 4K TV. No,
but as he said, you know, the entry level is quite low now for 4K television, so I think people are be pretty keen to test it out. And a lot of the attraction too is he talked about the ad-free coverage. You know, that's you notice the difference if you like your AFL or your NRL, the ad breaks. If you've been watching a game on free-to-air, you jump over to subscription TV, you go, oh, that's right, they've got ads on this platform. So it does make a difference for the hardcore fans, I think.
All right, let's get to the ratings now. This is week 40. We're going to kick off with free-to-air ratings. And look, last week we saw the AFL Grand Final took out the top spot. No surprise to see this time it was the turn of the NRL. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Great result there, and a good result for 10.
So this was the final, right? The controversial Honey Badger.
Yeah, Honey Badger couldn't make up his mind, so he walked away on both the ladies that made it to the final 2. And yeah, a lot of viewers weren't happy about that.
But 10 would be happy, wouldn't they? I mean,
well, yeah, the ratings are really good.
But
some people wondered, has it damaged the franchise a little bit? You know, The Bachelorette has launched this week.
I'll
give you the tip, we won't see that in the top 5 next week. Right. So it started, I mean, there was big expectations. Sophie Monk did it last year, so the Ali's doing it this year. sort of no Sophie Monk, and not yet anyway.
And then bringing up the rear, The Block, great show, 9 News, and I think that was 7 News.
7 News, yeah.
Here is, again, week 40, but this is for subscription television, and the Bathurst 1000, top spot.
Yeah, because the weekend split on Saturday and Sundays, this is sort of the preceding events on the Saturday, so we'll see what the final rated on next week's chart, because it's part of the current ratings week. But yeah, look, it did very good for Foxtel. Some massive numbers there.
Is that new series, Love It or Listed?
It is. It's the second season.
Yeah.
Yep. So Andrew Winter and Neil Whittaker, the two judges there, both have their own successful other programs. So putting them together has been a really good move, and it's just been renewed for a third season as well.
And Gogglebox, look, it's always doing well. It's clearly very popular. I have to confess, I don't get it, but it continues to power along.
Yeah, well, some people from the Gogglebox turned up at the Fox Cricket launch. And
Oh, really?
They were besieged on the red carpet. So yeah, photographers love them. People wanted to interview them. So yeah.
There you go. James Manning, wonderful as always. See you next week. Thanks very much.
James.